All right, so let's take a look at long division. So what we have here is we have 1 divided by 11. So let's go ahead and use long division. All right, so the number on the bottom here is always going to go on the outside, and then your numerator is always going to go on the inside. And notice the number on the bottom here in our denominator is bigger than the number in our numerator, right? So what we're going to do is we need to know where our decimal place is. Okay, and that's going to be very helpful. So let me move my decimal place up here. And we ask ourselves, how many times does 11, let me use my little laser, how many times does 11 go into 1? Well, we know it doesn't. So we're going to need a 0 right here. Okay, because 11 does not go into 1. So let's go ahead and add a 0 right here. And now we have our new question, right? How many times does 11 go into 10? Well, again, we see that it doesn't. So we put 0 because it doesn't fit. All right, so now we have our new question. Let's go ahead and add another 0 here. And you could see we might have to extend this. How many times does 11 now go into 100? And the answer is 9, because 11 times 9 is 99. All right, so this number, we're going to shoot it underneath the 100. So we shoot that number right here. All right, and then we subtract it. So we go ahead and we get, when we subtract those two, we just get 1. So now we ask ourselves the same question. Okay, so once we go ahead and subtract, remember, you always bring down the next number, which in this case is a 0. So let's go ahead and bring down the 0. And we ask ourselves that question. How many times does 11 go into 10? Well, we know it doesn't. And for that reason, again, we're going to shoot down another 0, right? And we ask ourselves, how many times does 11 go into 100? And we already saw that was 99. So put a 9 right here. So this 9 times this 11, we already saw is 99. So we put down the 99 right there. And we could see this is going to continue forever. This pattern right here of 0, 9, 0, 9, 0, 9. So what we could do if you want to stop right there is you could just put a line on top, because this pattern is going to continue forever. And we could have also put the line for your answer. You could have just put 0.09 with the line on top, because we know that's going to continue on forever. So let me know if this makes sense. Alright, so let's look at this example. So just like our last example here, we know the 40 is going to go on the outside, and that 17 is going to go in the inside. And notice, I'm not even worried about that negative, because I know my answer is going to be negative, because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Alright, so just like our last example, we want to start by including our decimal, and we know that 40 here does not go into 17, so we put a 0. And like last time, we're going to need, oops, I accidentally shifted. Let me shift that back over. All right, so let me go ahead and include a 0 placeholder. So the big question is, how many times does 40, let me get my highlighter, how many times does 40 go into 170? All right, so here's a trick for you. Maybe an easier question might be, how many times does 4 go into 17? That's probably an easier question. So then you could say, well, 40 times 4. And the reason I say 4 is because I know that this 4 times 4 will give you 16, which is going to be really close to that. So let's check it out. So 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 4 is 16. So we have 160. And if I added another 40, you see that would be too high. All right, so 40 goes into 170 4 times. So now we go ahead and multiply the 4 times the 40, which we did already right there, and we get 160. So don't forget, after you multiply, then you subtract those two. So we subtract those two and we're left with 10, and then we add a 0 because we need to bring down that next digit. Okay, so new question. How many times does 40 fit into 100? And we could see 40 fits into 100. Let's go ahead and multiply it twice. And 2 times 40 we know is 80. So it fits into it 2 times. So we get 80. And again, we subtract. So 100 minus 80 is going to leave us with 20. All right, and we add a 0, bring down that next digit. New question. How many times does 40 go into 200? Well, it looks just like how many times does 4 go into 20? So we're going to say that 40 goes into it 5 times. Let's do the math and we'll check it out. So 0 times 5 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20. So what do you know? Now we have no remainder. So your answer to this is, don't forget your negative sign, negative 0.42. All right, so hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. One little thing, notice this 5. Please don't do what I did. I forgot to write it right there. Okay, I'm glad we caught that. All right, let me know if you have questions.